Can you imagine having to spend 12 hours a day just to build one car? Well, before 1913, this was a reality. Today, we will explore the origin of the moving assembly line. First, we'll be discussing the origin of the system at Ford Motor Company. Second, we will analyze how the process increased manufacturing speed. And lastly, we'll discuss its long-term impact on global industries today. Henry Ford introduced the first moving assembly line in 1913 to improve the production speed of the Model T automobile. To fully understand why this change was so revolutionary, we have to take a close look at what it was like inside the Highland Park factory before December 1st, 1913. At that time, a car was put together on the fixed spot in a floor. A small group of workers stood around a single car frame and stayed with it from start to finish. If they needed parts like heavy iron wheels, steering columns, or engine blocks, individual workers had to stop what they were doing, walk across the massive, crowded factory floor, find the parts, and carry or drag them back by their own hands. This created massive physical confusion. Workers spent more time walking around hunting for materials than actually building the car itself. Because of this wasted movement and human fatigue, it took half a day just to assemble a single vehicle. This made the production numbers very low and kept the price of the Model T very high, making it to where only wealthy people could afford to buy it. Henry Ford soon realized that instead of having his men walk all over the factory floor to find the work, he needs to find a way to bring the work to the men. As reported by Yara Simon for How Stuff Works on July 18, 2023, the breakthrough idea came from an unexpected place, a meat packing plant in Chicago, Illinois. Ford's industrial engineers visited the plant and watched how animal carcasses hung from hooks on an overhead moving rail system. The meat moved continuously down a line, stopping in front of workers who stayed in one exact spot to perform just one specific task over and over again. Ford decided to take the exact flow concept and flip it, but for building cars. He cleared a long, straight path across his factory floor and hooked a heavy rope to a mechanical winch to a Model T chassis. On that historic day in 1913, they turned on the winch and began slowly pulling the car frame across the room. Ford broke the entire building process down into 140 small, highly specialized steps. Workers were placed at fixed stations along the path, and as the car moved slowly past them, each person added just one specific part over and over again. Now that we know where this revolutionary system began, let's look at how it impacted the overall speed of manufacturing. By moving the vehicle's chassis down a conveyor belt, the system significantly reduced the time previously required to build the car. Once the moving conveyor belt was fully set up and optimized by Ford's team, the increase in manufacturing speed completely changed industrial history. According to a detailed report by History.com on December 3, 2025, the moving assembly line cut the production time of a single Model T from an astonishing 12 hours down to just 93 minutes. By simplifying every single job so that one worker did nothing but tighten two specific bolts or attach one left wheel all day long, the factory completely eliminated wasted human motion. Workers no longer had to bend over, lift heavy parts from the floor, or look around for tools because everything they needed was delivered right to their very own station. This massive drop in time meant that instead of making a few cars a day, Ford's factory was suddenly rolling brand new finished Model T off the line every 10 seconds of the workday. This extreme boost in speed completely transformed the American economy and everyday life. As explained by Chris Fletcher for Crest Capital on April 24, 2026, because cars were being produced at such a massive volume, the cost to build each car dropped drastically. This allowed Ford to lower the price of the Model T from $850 down to less than $300, putting a car within financial reach for regular working class families. However, Zainal Qusaida noted for JobsLab on January 5, 2025, that doing the exact same repetitive task for hours on end made the work incredibly boring, causing a lot of employees to unfortunately quit. To fix this labor issue, Ford used his massive factory profits to shock the business world by doubling his workers' pay to a famous $5 a day, while simultaneously cutting their daily shifts down from 9 hours to 8. This historic change gave regular factory workers enough money to easily be able to afford their very own cars that they themselves were building, which directly helped build the modern American class. Not only did this system change the speed of car manufacturing, but it changed how all factories operated worldwide. The widespread success of this moving conveyor belt system quickly transformed how all cars, electronics, and much more are produced today. Once other business owners and competing industries saw the massive profits and speed Ford was achieving, they immediately rushed to copy his layout. According to research by Katie Bellett for Red Zone on March 31st, 2026, factory managers quickly realized that this slow production method was not limited to just automobiles. Within 20 years, companies that manufacture typewriters, commercial radios, home refrigerators, and even canned or packaged foods completely rearranged their buildings around moving conveyor belts. The fundamental rule for all modern production became standardized. If a consumer product could be broken down into small, repeatable steps, it belonged on a moving assembly line to maximize efficiency and lower costs. More than 100 years later, this exact 1913 logic remains the absolute foundation for how global goods are made today. Rachel Graham reported for CBS Detroit on March 18, 2026, that even though high-tech robotic arms, automated sensors, and artificial intelligence have replaced many of the human working tightening bolts, the core concept of the line has not changed at all. When you look inside a modern electronic factory or high-tech shipping center, the product still flows continuously down a designated path past specialized stations. Henry Ford's moving belt set the permanent pace for global commerce, and our modern world still relies entirely on this exact flow production principles engineered over a century ago. Today, we explore the origin of the moving assembly line. First, we looked at the origins of the system at the Ford Motor Company. Then, we analyzed how the process increased manufacturing speed, and we ended by discussing its long-term impact on global industries. Thank you for listening.